Welcome to the Jake Turner Podcast, where we share tools to win in life, health, and business. Hello, my name is Jake Turner. I have my doctorate in nurse anesthesia and am a professionally certified life coach. Today's guest is someone who has built his life on resilience and relentless work ethic. From where he grew up to the career he carved out, Jason's story is about doing the hard things, even when it means starting over. He's the president of Shields Accounting Services, a leader, and someone on-screen personality for the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. But what defines him isn't just titles, it's how he responds to adversity. When the pandemic hit, his business suffered, but his brother reminded him that no entrepreneur has a perfect record, and that the best ones bounce back. He took those words to heart, rebuilt, and kept moving forward. In this episode, you're going to hear why he believes perfection is impossible, but chasing it leads to excellence, how he learned to stop talking and start doing, what resiliency really looks like in practice, and why he says you can have results or excuses, but not both. Along the way, you'll also hear stories of failure, bounce backs, and lessons learned that will challenge you to push harder in your own life. Please welcome my good friend, Jason.
Thanks for having me, Jake. Appreciate it.
Yep, glad to have you podcast. If your life right now had a headline, what would it say?
The headline to my life?
Mm-hmm.
I would say the headline to my life would, not only did you accomplish, but you far exceeded what you sought out to do.
Nice. What'd you far out exceed?
Everything past graduating college.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah.
If I went back to when I was actually even in college, I would, actually when I was in college, I said, okay, I'll just go get a job at a public accounting firm, work a 9 to 5, and that's going to be my life. I always told myself, I'm never going to run my own business, never going to do all of that. And here I stand with like 40 or 50 payroll clients, do 300 tax returns a year, have had multiple businesses. So things change as you go through and you realize what you really do want in life versus when you're studying to be something. It changes from when you were actually out in the field doing it.
Yeah. What do you think changed?
I think a few things. One major thing that changed for me is to be blunt, I got tired of making money for other people.
Okay.
I'm putting in all this hard work, and I've touched on this subject in conversations with you and others in the past, is that the more that you do work efficiently, the more they stack on top of you. Mm-hmm. But you get paid the same amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
And I think as I was starting to build the business and do it, it was always going to be just a side thing as I was working for somebody else. But then I saw that I started liking that, the mentality of that, creating my own schedule, doing my own thing, having my own freedom, not having a glass ceiling. I could be as successful as I want to be. I could take on as much business as I want to be, but that doesn't mean you have to keep going. But it's up to me. I make my own decisions.
All right. Yeah, that's true. And I think that's powerful, like having that control, that sense of direction, and you're creating your own life versus letting it happen to you.
Yeah, and notwithstanding that, that doesn't mean that's for everybody.
No.
Some people are perfectly content working a 9 to 5 every day of their life, but it just wasn't for me. I think that's the key factor there. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I found that out later in life.
Yeah, and that's okay. People can live their life however they want to. I just nowadays approach things from no judgment. Yep. People want to live their life a certain way. They live their life a certain way. Perfection is impossible, but chasing it creates excellence. What does excellence look like for you today?
I would say excellence for me is continuing to strive forward.
Okay.
To make each day better than the other one, and also learn something new every day. My the accounting chair at U of I Springfield, where I graduated, always said the day that you stop learning is the day you shouldn't do it anymore.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. And so he always would preach that to the accounting students there, and basically, you should always, whatever your profession is, every day there should be something new that you can learn to be either more efficient, more successful, learn more about yourself, whatever it is. But from a professional standpoint, he said, really, every day you should keep learning. The day you stop learning is the day you should hang it up.
What's the last thing that you learned recently? Just curious.
The last thing that I've learned?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would say from a major standpoint, from a critical thing that comes to my head is I have an assistant at my in my Florida location. I'm a nationwide firm, but Florida is kind of the hub, my main.
Yeah.
And he's 21 years old, and I have to keep reminding myself that he's not going to know what I know. He comes from a different upbringing than I come from.
Sure.
Like I mean, like basic examples of things. Like for example, the first time I took him out to dinner, he didn't know how to order a steak. And to me, now keep in mind, he's 20 years old.
Sure.
He comes from an urban lifestyle, and I'm like, you know what? It was weird to me, and I didn't laugh, but I was amused by it internally. But then I look back and I'm like, you sometimes assume that what is the norm for you is the norm for everybody. He didn't know how to. Sorry, Ray. He didn't know how to.
He'll cut his name out.
Well, he's my assistant.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. He didn't know how to, address an envelope.
Okay.
Balance a checkbook. Again, from our era, when you come from younger, that's something you always did. People don't balance checkbooks really anymore. It's not a thing you do anymore.
Yeah, what's a checkbook?
Everybody does everything so electronically. You may grow up in an era where you don't know how to address an envelope.
Yeah.
I know young accounting students who don't know how to use an adding machine. To me, that sounds crazy.
Sure.
But then you have to reflect on where they come from, and the best way to succeed and to move forward and to learn is to understand somebody else's point of view, not just yours.
Yeah, or to at least try, and then be I'll say another word is empathetic, but just be understanding of that. Based on how someone lived and how they grew up, no surprise that they don't know how to address an envelope or even order a steak.
Yeah.
It's everyone lives different lives. You know what I mean? Like even if the opportunity to order at a nice restaurant isn't just for everyone,
Yeah. He told me later that was the first time he ever went to a sit-down restaurant in his life.
Wow.
That's why.
Yeah. What was that like? Hearing him say that.
That's what made me kind of reflect on that, and like you say, not only the understanding but the awareness of where somebody else comes from.
Right.
And and I've been a big believer in with my employees and successfully having a good employee relationship is understanding who they are as a person and where they come from. You can better communicate with them on that level. Yeah. Because if you know more about the person they are, it helps you understand as a professional why they would do something a certain way. It may be something that upsets you,
sure.
But then if you see that viewpoint, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have been upset about that. Now I understand. Now I get it. Then the next time comes around, you'll approach it a different way. It's not always what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think personality tests are good to, if I hire someone, I have them do a personality test, and then I'll take one myself, and then we share, hey, this is what my personality's like, again, with no judgment. This is how we can work well together, So, yeah, it's hugely beneficial to do that, for sure. You believe work ethic cannot be taught. Where did yours come from?
It would have had to have come from my mom.
Okay.
Initially, brought up that way. Integrity, morality, also work ethic. She made a quote to me in my later years, like in college times. She said that the education or the resume, the education gets you the interview. I'm sorry, let me say that again.
Yeah, you're okay.
The resume or the education, I guess it's kind of the same thing. The resume gets you the interview. The interview gets you the job. The work gets you the promotion.
Nice. I like that.
How many times have you been interviewed or you interviewed somebody else? They can say whatever they want in an interview. It means nothing. It really does. And which also leads me to what I feel is the best way to hire employees or assistants for yourself. I used to hire them based on experience and knowledge. Now I hire them on morality. You can't teach trust.
True. I think it's a good place to start. I also like doing a test project for people. So how do you know how well you're going to work together until you actually start working together? And so test project, and then boom, okay, now we're going to have someone on Team Turner, I like to call it.
Yeah. I don't micromanage any of my employees. I observe, and then I have conversations with them if I need to, but I just observe and see how they do it, acting like I don't care.
Yeah.
They need to teach themselves that work ethic. I can't teach that for them.
Yeah.
I can teach somebody how to do bookwork. I can teach somebody how to do taxes. I can't teach you how to be a good person.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I think as a leader, it's important to teach someone that this is the outcome I want here. And there's a bunch of different ways you can get to a certain outcome versus you're just telling someone the steps to do it. That's not necessarily teaching them anything.
Right.
You know, because in the end goal, you want the outcome, not necessarily exactly how they got that there. You know, and because when you say open-minded that way too, they might come up with a better idea of how to get a solution done.
Yeah.
You know, it's not always just like Jake's way or the highway, you know, or Jason's way is the only way to do things. No, of course not. There's a million different ways to do different things. You know,
50% at least of the time that I talk to my assistant, the young one down in Florida, is about just sitting there and letting me talk to you about my experiences in life. If I can teach you things that you can jump over or skip the mistakes that I've made, my experiences and the way that I've went on my life is 10 times more valuable than anything that you could just learn on your own. That's going to make you a better employee for me too, because when you understand that side of me, you also understand what I want and what I expect.
Yeah. Well, avoiding the big mistakes. I think with a lot of times if we're learning a new skill, it's starting with the things not to do. Don't do these things. And then that will get you quite along the way. And then add on to these things. And you combine those two together. Creates a lot of momentum and strategy. And that's where it helps to have a mentor or a coach where it's not necessary. Right? You don't need those things. But is it pretty nice? Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's going to gain you a lot of time and save you a lot of money in the future. What conversation was the one that changed your life forever?
The one single conversation that completely turned it around to a business professional versus a waiter, without a shadow of a doubt, has to be the conversation that I had with you. If you remember, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I remember us sitting in my apartment one time. We were just pre-drinking for our normal situation, going out, whatever. I think I was maybe in my early 30s at the time.
Yeah, I can remember.
Something like that. In any event, what it was is it was typical Jason sitting there and saying, oh, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And this is the single first, and probably not the last, but was the first time that you conflicted what I said. Before it was always like kind of we were just in agreement with each other. We were younger. We just hung out, whatever. Okay, he's saying this, blow it off your head or whatever. I'm tired of hearing what you're going to do. You just need to put your head down, go and do it. If you're going to do it, then just do it. Stop talking about doing it. Do it. You can have family tell you things you just think they're browbeating you. Sometimes, and especially with me, the more it is a friend, they don't have to say it. You almost feel like, I don't want to say you feel like they care more. I almost feel like you take it more to heart because you don't expect them to say those things. So if they say it, it has more impact.
Right.
Your mom is supposed to lecture you, right? Your even your brothers and sisters are supposed to criticize. They want you to be better. They want you to be better, but you always take it. If it's a sibling or whatever, sibling rivalries or whatever, you roll your eyes to it. If a friend says it, I think it has a different type of value.
Yeah.
A friend, an employee, a boss. Not even a boss. Sometimes bosses you think are just only going to criticize too.
Yeah.
But so that's what had that be a different impact. And also the relationship we had as friends at the time is like, I am not going to let Jake Turner down. He's one of the few that I just had a feeling that you were always going to be there. Like I had a lot of, it's quality versus quantity. I didn't think that back then, but now I know quality of friends, quality of family versus quantity.
Right. Yeah.
The ones that I know now at 48 years old, who's going to and has been there, especially after going through the things that I've went through, who the fair weather people are. Yeah. And so I focus more on the ones, like I said, like I go back to the morality. You can't teach morality with an employee. Right, They're the ones who are going to be with you through the good and the bad. Right. The fair weather ones, the ones that they could have experience and knowledge, but that is not in any way going to indicate that they're going to be there through the tough times.
Yeah. No, exactly. And so go a little bit more in detail about what happened after that, because I think it's be good for the audience here. So you were working as a waiter for a long time, and from my perspective,
10 years.
You were always like, yeah, I'm going to go to community college next year. I'm going to start taking some classes, And I remember just like listening to you, because my career path as far as college went too, I got my biology degree, nursing degree, then doctor of nurse anesthesia degree, and I was taking community college classes in between all this stuff. No one in my family had ever gone to college before. I remember just telling you, like, you know what? You need to just stop talking about it and just do it. You know, like you're gonna. It's gonna be a year from now. You know, we had the same conversation a year ago, and you would have been a year ahead. You just would have started. And I knew if you start going, you just get the classes rolling. It's gonna just continue to snowball. Can you mind saying like what happened after that conversation?
Yeah. Well, and before I touch on that, here's the irony of it: is you say you were the first one in your family to go to college. I was the first one to not.
Interesting.
I had a feeling inside my head, and I think a depression and all of that had a lot to do with it. And I've talked to my family about this since then. I never mentioned it then when it was happening, but I always felt like everybody was kind of not laughing literally, but ashamed or disappointed in me because what's wrong with Jason?
Yeah.
Why didn't Jason do what the others did? Yeah. And so I always felt like I was being looked down on because I did not go to school and I was a disappointment, and all those types of things would always surface in my head. So I always had a defense mechanism, and I would take things personally. The second I stopped taking things personally is the second I became successful, which is down the road. Going back to your question though, gosh, it was literally the next week. And I told my mom, I'm going back to school. And to my mom at that point, okay, here's the next idea Jason's going to do. He's going to drop out in 6 months. I said, I'm going to work full time and I'm going to get my degree in the allotted time. 2 years associates, 2 years bachelor's. There's no way you're going to do that. Not at that time in my life, but kind of. I had the mentality of the more somebody says I'm not going to do something, the more I'm going to prove them wrong.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Do you know where that comes from?
No.
You're going to laugh. Stone Cold Steve Austin. He did an interview once. He said, the more somebody says I couldn't do something, the more I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And that was about him getting to a certain level of success in his career. And he did an interview like that. And that stuck with me. You know as well as anybody, wrestling stuck with me. Obviously, me being in the National Wrestling Alliance now, it was a passion of mine.
Sure.
Those were a lot of my role models from not only what they did, but just the success level, the drive, a lot of that stuff. But that's where that came from for me. And that's what stuck in my head. So I remember when I even started the accounting firm, I'm going to be a traveling accountant. Jason, there's no such thing as that. That doesn't work. Here I am as a national accounting firm as a traveling accountant, and I have clients all over the country from a small town, Peoria, Illinois boy. That's where I'm at now, and a lot of that drive was because I was told I couldn't. I will show you, and I'm going to do something that's revolutionary. Now, I don't think I'm revolutionary like I'm the first person who's ever done it.
No.
But if you go back in time to me in high school, or let's say after high school when I'm doing the restaurants and stuff, and older Jason, I get midlife crisis, but older Jason goes and talks to young Jason and says, you're going to live in Tampa, Florida. You're going to have a successful business of your own. You're going to have a master's degree, run your own successful accounting firm nationwide, and you're also going to be a wrestling performer. Okay, go back to your foxhole, whatever. We'll see.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, no, nobody would have ever believed it.
Yeah.
And that to me is a certain level of pride too, is like the people I grew up with, like, ironically enough, more of the doing the wrestling thing felt like more of an accomplishment than the accounting firm because it was more of a dream. It was more of a lifelong accomplishment. And I got it. I was 46 years old before I'd ever even touched the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Here I am at 48, 2 years later, and I'm in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
At that age, you almost think the game's over. Sure. I mean, as far as starting new things, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, I like would you go into a new profession and you're bordering 50? No, why would I even attempt that? Yeah.
Who knows?
So, but most people wouldn't. Is my point.
Yeah. So you went to community college, then you got your bachelor's.
Yep.
You got you went after that though, right?
Yeah, I got my master's.
You got your master's?
Yeah, because in the state of Illinois at the time, I was still only in Illinois. The state of Illinois requires you to have 150 hours to sit for the CPA exam, and I was fully set on that, so I had to go through the master's program. Here's the funny part. Just 1 year ago now, the state of Illinois says you only need 120 hours. Go figure, right? But it's still knowledge and education that I still have.
Yeah, exactly. So you went from being a waiter, serving steaks, to now training your assistant to a steak and teaching him how to order one. Mm-hmm. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Man, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very, very proud of you.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's hard to see friends I have when a lot of people have potential, and I think of a way of as like someone has a diamond sitting in their hand, and sometimes it's a simple task you have to do. If you just tell them to close their hand or just do one simple step, that they can have exactly what they want in their hand. but all our limiting beliefs or past experiences is like, oh, I can't do that. I tried that before, or no, that's not going to work for me. And so literally whatever they have is like in the palm of their hand because they won't do that one thing that they should do. Let's never get it, you know?
Yeah.
So big props to you for getting it and keep pushing moving forward. So
thank you.
It's awesome. During the pandemic, you lost clients and struggled personally. What did your brother's advice about bouncing back really teach you?
What's interesting about that is so as kids, we were close. We both watched wrestling together. I remember on Saturday nights, we would sneak up and watch Saturday Night Live on a little black and white TV back then, you know, with the ears, you know, you had 4 channels.
I don't know if anyone knows, but the TVs used to have these little like extendable wires that would come out, and then they weren't always in color.
We would watch wrestling together. We would do all that stuff together. And as we got a little bit older, he went to college. Like I said, we kind of drifted apart. He was in St. Louis, and I would, you know, in any event, so we had kind of a back and forth relationship to a certain extent. But he knew enough about me to know what made me tick. So here is exactly verbatim what he said to me is, he had known from his legal partner, who I was in business with, he said, you need to call your brother. Your brother's having a tough time right now. Me and my brother didn't talk a lot. He was building his family or whatever. And so he called me, and I was having I had personal issues with the fact that I was losing clients.
Okay.
I was like, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong? What's going on here?
Gotcha.
Like, you know, and a lot of it is, as you may have known, we talked about it a little bit, but I went from having 1 business to 5 businesses. By time we got to maybe the early 2021. For a span of about, let's say, 12 months, I had bought 4 new businesses.
Oh, that's a lot.
I'll use one word to say why I did it, and it was arrogance, honestly. I thought I could make anything successful, and I thought I could accomplish anything. And when the first 1 or 2 was successful, I kept going. Yeah. I was like, I'll keep going with this, keep going.
Arrogant businessman? Never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, and part of this also goes back to the fact of me telling you that I felt like I was a disappointment to my family. So I felt like I was behind the 8 ball, and I have to work harder to get to that level, a certain level, high and above, to say, look at me, look, I'm successful, I did it, I made it.
Yeah.
And then obviously nobody could have predicted the pandemic. There was a lot of sufferings, and our sufferings came after the pandemic was over, when prices went up and all that stuff. In any event, lost 4 of them. Yeah. Over time, lost 4 of them. Couldn't keep them going. Couldn't keep fighting. I was everybody's enemy. Everybody hated me. My employees, you know, disgusted. You know, and so I took a personal effect. It took a personal effect. So here's what he did. He called me on the phone, and more of it was the client base, and obviously losing the businesses and stuff like that. I was having a personal rough time with hurting other people because of my decisions. And that's how I took it. I put it on my sleeve.
What do you mean by that?
My decisions in business, or maybe going too fast or too careless, employees lost their jobs. Okay. Investors lost their money. Obviously, I lost a lot more than they did, but I took that personally. That was my responsibility, and I effed it up.
Yeah. Why did you take it personally?
Because it was my fault.
Okay.
It was my fault. Now, granted, there were other extenuating circumstances that caused all this to happen, but I never wanted to use that as an excuse.
All right, okay.
You know, I made these decisions. I wanted people to believe in me, and the end result, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward, we're going to get it all recouped and all that. But going back to that, what he said on the phone, he knows one of my 2 things I'm most passionate about is Chicago Cubs baseball, or baseball in general, and wrestling. He said 2 things. The first thing he said is, do you know one pitcher with a 0.00 ERA?
Then what's the ERA, just so people know?
Earned run average.
Okay, because I'm not big in baseball, so I honestly don't know.
Do you know a pitcher that can go a whole season without giving up a run? Yeah. Basically, is what he's saying. I was like, no, that's impossible.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's alluding to mistakes. Then the other one he says, you know, you would consider The Rock a highly successful individual. I said, yeah. He said, do you think he ever looks in the mirror and gives 2 about what those haters out there are saying about him? He's still just as successful as he's been. You have to let that stuff roll off your back. You cannot take business personally. You cannot make personal stuff business. Yeah. It's an old quote, and it doesn't matter who it's from, but I remembered it was another wrestler. He says, I got to a point in my life where strangers, I made family, and I made family strangers.
Okay. What does that mean to you?
I had a fault to that too. I was so focused on getting my life back in order. There was about a span of almost 2 years where I did not communicate with most of my family, my nieces, my nephews, and all of them.
Gotcha.
They knew why, and I was trying to fix myself, but that's no excuse.
Yeah.
I literally lived in Florida and never went back to Illinois, where I'm originally from, for, I can't say I didn't go back for 2 years, but I focused on business, and I didn't talk. So that when he said that to me, those 2 things to me, I got it. And I'm like, okay, the fact that he picked up the phone and made the phone call in the first place meant a lot to me.
Yeah, he cared.
Yeah.
He does care.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one brother and one sister. My brother has always been more of the person I would go to for business, common sense, knowledge people. My sister's more of the emotional person I would go to like, if I go to my brother and try and talk about something sentimental, he's like, just call Rachel. Yes. Or call mom. Like, ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, that's a brother thing, I think.
Yeah, it is. But so that's why that had an impact to me, is because that was what turned it around for me. I'm like, okay, I got to get back on the horse, and I got to figure out not what's happened, but how do I get back to where it was? Okay, these businesses that failed is because I put more focus into them. Let me rephrase that. The clients I lost were because of the other businesses that failed, because I had to put so much time into them. I let this sit, and I got complacent. People thought I was a robot, and I never made a mistake. And then I started making mistakes, and they acted like, what's wrong with Jason? I'm human. Right. That's what's wrong with me.
Right. We all make mistakes.
Even though that was what I was thinking, I still took it personally, as in, this is my fault.
Yeah.
But then I should have said, well, you know what? Screw you. I'm a human being. I make mistakes. How about a little bit of understanding? Again, unless you were in my shoes, you didn't know what I was going through, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I think it's a common misconception, because no matter what, all of our situations are different. Okay. People will say, well, you'll never understand my situation. Not completely, but people go through similar circumstances in life, where someone's parent dies, and like, you don't understand. Like, I had a parent die.
I mean, I speak from that, from more on the hundreds of thousands of dollars of losses and what that. And having other people as a responsibility.
Well, sure.
Personal side, I agree with.
But sure, but even that, people go bankrupt. People, businesses fail. The other people have gone through it too, which be good, because you can find people to connect with that and get maybe some comfort in knowing that, like I'm not the only one who's had trouble with their business during the pandemic of all places. But one story that made me think of that you connected with is Einstein's math mistake. Do you remember the story?
Yeah.
So, if anyone hasn't heard it, Einstein's math mistake is he goes up to the chalkboard in front of the students. He's writing the multiplications of 9. 9 times 1 equals 9. 9 times 2 equals 18. 9 times 3 equals 27, etc. And he goes all the way down to the bottom. And he writes 9 times 9 equals 84, which is not right. And then all of a sudden, all the students, whoa, you made a mistake. But then during all the other times we did everything right, no one said anything. And that's exactly what happens when you make a mistake. Everyone's watching. They're watching you succeed, doing everything right, but they will speak up the first time you do something wrong. And that's exactly what happened in those situations. When you have haters and stuff like that, and you just gotta blow by that stuff. Because you're gonna make a mistake. Like you said, you're human.
You know what's funny about that is obviously you don't want me to use names, but the guy who owned the party store that we worked for.
Yeah, we'll talk about that soon. But
one of the things he used to say to people to make them kind of feel guilty, but when somebody would blame him for something, he'd say, "I apologize for being human." I remember he used to say that all the time. And it's crazy. My sister calls me the savant of useless information, meaning like I remember things that nobody else remember. It could be like a trivial little statement. Sometimes it could be something that doesn't mean anything, but it's like I remember things that nobody else remembers for whatever reason. That's always been me.
Yeah, but like maybe it's not useful to her.
Yeah.
But to someone else listening to this, it could be a lifeline for them and letting them a gentle remind themselves, hey, I'm human, I make mistakes.
Yeah, I'll give you a great example of that. Like one time out of the blue, my brother calls me and he calls me a question. He's talking to my mom.
Okay.
And he says, we need to settle an argument. I'm like, what is it? He goes, every Friday night when we were kids, what did we have for dinner? I said, Pizza Hut. And my mom's like, I can't believe you remember that. I hear in the background, I can't believe you remember that. And he goes, I told you Jason would know. Again, who remembers those types of things? But he knew, him and my sister always knew if they needed an answer to a question of something of, for him, it was always to win the argument. But
to be fair, he's a lawyer.
Yeah. But he does. I mean, he's probably, what's the old saying is he's forgotten more than I'll ever know. Yeah. He's a very intelligent young man.
Yeah.
He always says, even going back to high school, he used to like always want to do the stock market and stuff like that, and I couldn't stand that stuff.
Yeah.
I never want to get into it. But in any event, that's what I mean by useless information. It's like I don't even know how that conversation ever started, but my brother was insisting that to her that she goes, I don't remember that, and then he didn't even tell me tell me what it was. I knew where it was, and then that's how it got validated.
I feel like I get that sometimes too. I think partly is because I'm always learning lots of new stuff at once, like with a different language or like with all this podcasting stuff. I'm learning so many things at once. Once I'm like, hey, remember the story when we do this? I'm like, nope. I do not. I do not actually. But sometimes if like you say something and I'm like, oh yeah, I can kind of remember that. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, since we were first hanging out back in the day when I first started like even working at the Party Superstore or bartending, like I mean, life has changed a lot.
Yeah.
Since then. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, look where we are. It's just,
Yeah.
this is pretty wild. You moved to Florida and said that decision changed everything. Why was that the turning point?
When was it?
Like, why was that the turning point for you?
Moving to Florida?
Yeah.
I felt like a fresh start.
Okay.
And also, I was pushed on it by one of my most successful clients. He's a financial advisor, and he had a house in Illinois and in Florida, and it was a tax decision.
Okay.
Like and you keep in mind, this was around the time those other businesses hadn't failed yet; they were still successful and stuff. I'm like, I need to get out of the Illinois tax realm and get into the Florida tax realm.
Yeah.
And also just being where I want to be. Now's the time to pull the trigger. I felt like.
Yeah.
And then of course the pandemic. I think I moved down there late 2020, so it was like the pandemic was like maybe middle. Yeah, but I was like, okay, Florida was a lot better place during the pandemic too. As like it was a lot more free going than Illinois was.
Yeah.
But that was interesting, and going back to like a little bit of this is just kind of something funny that I just thought of is like one of my other sayings that I remember that somebody said to me was always pass on what you've learned, not just your successes but also your failures. Do you know who said that? Yoda. You knew that was coming. But
big wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all right.
But it's a true statement. It really is. Like
that's true.
People have a tendency to only tell people how they were good. But if you don't tell people what you failed at, how are they going to be as good as you are?
Yeah, no one's perfect. Just like no one's inherently good, all good, or all bad. People are usually a mix in between. I think Jordan Peterson said that, and I believe that. You know, like you've only done good things in your life. Like you've never done anything bad. Like I don't believe that. Florida, what's it like living in Florida? Florida's kind of wild, right?
It's so surreal. It's surreal. Like I still wake up every day saying, is this really my life? Did I really get here to this point?
Yeah.
Like I started in Panama City, Florida, which I wasn't a big fan of.
Okay.
Tampa, Florida is more of a hotbed. It's more of a metro area. There's so much to do, but also from a business standpoint, there's a lot more. It's more business oriented. Panama City was more of a travel place.
Okay.
People had timeshare houses, and it was like the party area. You know, I mean, as a teenager or going to in high school or early college, like where did we go for spring break? Panama City.
Yeah. That's where I went. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, so it was like so I went from there to Tampa, and obviously and we'll talk about it later, I'm sure, but going to Tampa, the wrestling school thing is where a lot of that took form.
Great.
But it's a different animal, but it's almost like it was created for me. It's like my type of people. People are happier. They're there because they want to be there. I feel like versus other places where they feel like they're stuck in a rut.
Illinois.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. So I think my level of happiness changed. Like I would literally, even over taxis, I would go back to Illinois, because a lot of my clients are there, and I would literally be just mad on the plane.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe I got to go back here.
Yeah.
You know.
You seem happier. You've lost weight.
Yeah.
You're doing great. So I have a statement about Florida that I want you to tell me how true this is.
Okay.
Florida is the only place you can see somebody in pajama pants buying machete and nobody asks questions.
Alabama.
Oh, man.
Trust me.
Throw some heat in Alabama.
Yeah. Well, you do see it in Florida, but I don't know if I'd say the only place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's
I wouldn't say the only place. As I've traveled for like our wrestling shows, we do some in Dothan, Alabama. It's a drive-through state, and what I mean by that is don't stop.
I mean, buying a...
I'm not a big... I'm just like, Southern lifestyle has taken some time to get used to.
Sure.
Like, people have a little bit of a different mentality of things.
Yeah.
Some good, some bad.
Yeah.
But that's just an inside joke. I love Alabama.
Yeah, what's a good side of the southern area that you like? Like the southern...
Hospitality.
Hospitality, yeah.
And how they are with animals.
Oh, really? Like
There's
how?
not there. You can take a dog anywhere in Florida. You can
No.
take a dog anywhere, any store. They'll have signs up that say only service dogs are in here. But if you're the person who tells somebody they can't bring their dog in there, you immediately become the asshole of the entire store.
Really?
Like if you're whether you're a worker or whatever, it's like they're welcome everywhere. Recently, I think this last year, Tampa, Florida was considered the most dog friendly city in the entire country.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my dog would love that.
Yeah. You can't go anywhere without seeing dogs.
Really?
They're all over the place.
man.
Yeah, people walk their dogs. They have food trucks that have dog treats on them. You could go I was our friend that DJs down there.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
I'll leave the name out, but
Yeah, sure.
I went into to the bar that he works at, said hi to him, had a few
Yeah.
drinks or whatever,
Yeah.
and there's a dog that's a regular there. I'm not kidding you. They will let him walk behind the bar.
What? What kind of dog?
It was similar to. It was about the size of Jose. Not a golden retriever, but I want to say.
Yeah, I have a golden retriever.
Maybe it was a. Or no, he's not a golden retriever. He's a lab.
My dog? No, my dog's a golden retriever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a lab. But anyway, like everybody would be friendly with it. He would just hang out there. It was all cool. There was another dog who would just sit on the countertop, and you would just like have just hang out with you. I mean, that's how it is down there, though.
Yeah. He orders a drink.
Yeah, and people love it. People love it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You say you create your own luck. What is the one moment in your life that proves it?
I think it's persistency and resiliency. Create your own luck also came from our boss at the party store. He's the one who said that to me because I said, man, I've been in the right place, right time, and a lot of luck. He says, you're not lucky. You create your own luck. I said, well, what do you mean by that? And he says, well, if you keep repeating things that dictate success, it'll happen. Let's use Chamber of Commerce as an example.
Okay.
If you belong to the Chamber of Commerce and you never go to their events, you're not going to get new business from it. But if you go every month they have an event, let's say you get a new client, you're like, man, that was lucky to happen. No, it wasn't lucky. You go every time. So eventually things are going to turn your way. If you go to a certain place or you do certain things or you have a certain mentality or certain advertising, you didn't get lucky by finding that person. It's the persistency of what you're doing. You think it's luck, but it's not luck. It's you creating that by getting out there.
That makes sense. Why don't we talk about celebrations a little bit? So
Okay,
that's
sure.
where we first meet. You want to explain to the audience how we first met?
I was your boss.
Yeah. Yeah, you were.
I was your boss. You came in 16 years old, young punk kid.
Yeah.
I
don't know if I was a punk kid. You think so?
Yeah. Nah. Probably a little bit smart mouth.
Yeah.
But only in certain situations.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Not to me, but that was a weird thing. Not to me. I enjoed it when you did that.
I believe that's true. Yeah.
But usually we would make fun of people after they left the store. But I mean, gosh, how long did you work there? 2 years? Until you went to college, right?
Probably 2 years. Yeah.
I think it was just high school, right? And then you went to college. You were focused on that.
Yeah.
So, we were the Sunday crew. Me, you, and maybe one other person at times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how we connected so strongly is because there were a lot of times where it was me and you alone in the store together. Like you worked night shifts too, and I was always the night manager.
Yeah.
Well, no, sometimes day manager because I was always also managing at the movie theater, and so I was managing
Oh,
there
yeah.
as at the same. I was work, and this is where it comes from with my assistant, where I told him now he works for me instead of working other jobs. He works a job. Know your own value. I was working 40 plus hours a week managing 2 different businesses, making okay money. But if I would have went to school, I could have made better money working half the time.
Yep. Exactly.
But that's a learning experience. But back then, when you're in your 20s, you can sleep 5 hours a night, get up the next day, run a 16-hour day, and be fine, and go and go and go. There were times where I went 3 to 4 weeks without a single day off.
Yeah.
When it came to both businesses together.
Yeah. One of our friends, I won't say his name. I had someone come to me, a close friend of me, a couple of years after, like when I was getting ready to go to grad school and stuff, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you remember when you'd be, working 2 jobs and going to school full time and sleeping like 4 hours a night, the drugs you do?" I'm like, "Drugs?
Yeah.
Well, like I never even smoked marijuana." I'm like,
Yeah.
"What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, how did you you stay up and do all these things?" I'm like, "It's called willpower."
Yeah.
Like this is just me, dude. When when you have no option to fail, you just go for it.
And again, here's the irony of that. It was the opposite for me when I was struggling during the pandemic and the businesses were going to lose. I told you that people, I'm not a robot, so people were just what's wrong with Jason? There were literally clients who called me and accused me of being a drug addict because they assumed, and people use stereotypes and just assumed that was why things failed.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Again, if you are not in my shoes, you don't know what I'm dealing with all day. Now I'll go to that story is like, at the time, I lost two businesses. Two of the businesses I lost within a month of each other.
Mm-hmm.
In that same month of time, I lost one of my best friends from high school my uncle himself, and my other uncle broke his neck.
Damn.
All within 30 days. You tell me how you would react to that. I'm not talking about somebody I went to high school with. I was talking about like literally 2 months earlier or however much earlier it was. He owned a restaurant in Illinois, and he had just gotten married, and he killed himself because of depression, because of everything that was going on. So again, and then I had to deal with in myself that I couldn't make it back for the funeral.
Yeah.
It was just like I felt personal guilt over that.
Sure.
Again, I didn't go out and broadcast that to people. So what did people? And if you think about it, like when somebody goes through like a peak and valley, and somebody goes depreciates, or you think like, what's going on with this person? What's changed? Isn't that usually one of the first things somebody automatically assumes? Oh, he's on drugs.
Yeah, sometimes.
Or he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's always drugs. I think people can.
They assume you're doing something addictive wise.
Or I think people just have a sense of like something's going on. Like I think I had that before. People like, oh, maybe I should call someone, or someone text me like when I was going through a tough time. Like, are you okay? And that's where it's a good opportunity if someone does that to like step up. It's like, I'm actually not okay. And I need to talk or meet and have a dinner. And those moments I can say for myself have really helped me when I've been going through tough times.
My most common rebuttal when somebody would actually literally have the balls to say that to me is I say, do you know anybody else who can run 5 businesses and be a drug addict? Let me know who they are and what their secret is.
Yeah, I don't know any.
And then they usually say Trump, and I'm like, okay, good point. I'll never be at that level of wealth, but I mean, but no, I mean, it's just, again, one of the things that probably is one of my biggest pet peeves is somebody who says or does something without factual evidence.
Yeah.
Obviously, being an accountant, that's a big part of my life too.
Sure.
But just in general, don't make assumptions if you don't have anything to back your statement. And then if I tell you and I make a rebuttal and you still don't have anything, you just need to stop.
Yeah.
Stop talking if you don't have anything to support what you're saying.
I don't know if I ever told you the story, basically how I started working at the Party Superstore, which basically sells like plates and decorations and stuff like that. So my first job, I was working as a cook. And the hardest lesson that I learned there is that the harder you work, the more work they give you, unless you own your own business.
Yeah.
Because I would work as a cook. And by the way, I wouldn't get a break because I didn't smoke. So the people I work with, they'd smoke, so they get a break. So I'm working harder. I don't get a break. And then when I'd get my whole kitchen cleaned up, they'd be like, oh, good, you can go help the dishwasher. So I was like, I'm not here to wash dishes. I just washed all my other dishes. I made the dishes for the customers, and now I gotta like wash them. Like what is this? And I actually quit that place when it was like snowing out, and I was making $5.15 an hour at the time. And I remember, I'm gonna work at this Party Superstore and make $5.75 an hour. And I remember calling one day, and was just like, yeah, I'm not coming in. And like, oh, like because of the snow? I'm like, no, like ever again. And then, it's crazy. And then like go there. That's how we met, and making more money. Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah, and you became a helium test analyst for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, I had to make sure the helium tanks were accurate. We're good.
There's two distinct memories I have being there. So, I know how to make balloon bouquets.
Yes.
And
I could still make a perfect one to this day.
Yeah, we were talking.
Just give me a ribbon cutter and some helium. I'm good.
We were talking about that's how you learn the difference between purple and fuchsia. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's depressing.
Okay. And so you have this like this helium tank, and then you push on the side to like the fill the balloons up, and so I'd put my mouth on it, and like then I'd have like can talk in like a Alvin Chipmunk voice. It was very that was a good.
I do remember when I first started working there, and I saw how we had the balloons and the little things, and they would label the color names on them. I'm like, why are there 4 different types of green? This is. And then remember there was the pearlized, and then there's the dull one, like the one that had the shiny diamondy look were pearlized balloons, and then you had the dull ones.
Yeah.
Again, savant of useless information.
Wasn't there high float? Like, wasn't there like some sort of chemical
and
you
it would
there?
put in so they could last for like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
And so people would pick them up the night before and stuff
Love
like that.
high float.
Yeah. But it was annoying when it would get stuck to your hands, and you would always have to wipe your hands off and all that. But anyway, it's like, I'm like, why are there so many colors? This is so complicated.
Yeah.
So.
I also remember too. I would go out some near the end of high school, and I'd work like Sunday like 12 to 6 or something, and then there'd be times I go and like. I'd have, like, there's no one in there, and like Sunday on, just like have my head down, just like this, like Jason, just keep your heads out, let me know when the boss comes back up.
Yeah. And then you'd be in the back, and she'd come in, and I'd try to stall her a little bit, and then I paid you up front. Jake to the balloon counter. I couldn't say Jake to the balloon counter. She's here, but I mean,
right.
You know.
That's exactly what it meant, though, right?
Yeah, you know. I was like, please be awake. Please be awake. Because I'd be the one that got in trouble. Because it was my responsibility to make sure that you weren't, like, in there sleeping.
Yeah.
But
Fair.
Yeah. And to all the kids out there, yes, we were making $5-something an hour minimum wage. So I don't want to hear any complaints from you these days about how much you make at minimum wage an hour.
Yeah, let me tell you, well, and to people watching, it's easy to see where I'm at now. I like having hired help, and I'm so blessed to do all these things. Yeah. When I have these really great life experiences, it is like way overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
Because going from that and like driving a, Pontiac Grand Am car that was like mismatched colors and things, and like the windows wouldn't work. There's no air conditioning. To having nice things, it becomes very overwhelming for me, honestly, because life is so different. But it's a blessing because any success I have, I appreciate everything.
Yeah.
So
my first car I ever had was a hand-me-down from my grandma after she had it for 10 years. I got it for $1,000, a Chevy Celebrity.
What is
they
that?
don't even make those anymore. Maybe you don't know. Yeah, those were back in those days, man. That thing ran forever.
What, was it like a van?
No. It was like a, what would I rate it to? Like a Chevy Malibu type.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was, Chevy Celebrity back in the 80s. Man, that was classic stuff.
You had a Malibu for a while, right?
I did, more recently, yeah.
Okay.
I was a Chevy guy for a long time. Yeah.
Ford's better, but okay.
Yeah, well, now I'm a Ford guy. I am more of a Ford guy, honestly. Actually, I would say I'm more of a Dodge guy. Yeah, I'm kind of your Al Bundy type.
Next question. Instead of saying why me, you say try me. What stories show us how that mindset carried you through?
Again, I would kind of sometimes wake up in the morning, and that quote comes from The Rock, and I got a little picture, and it's on my wall. Every time I woke up, turned out of bed, and I would look at it on the wall. Basically, if I ever got to a point where I'm like, why does these things keep happening? And then I would just say, you're not going to win. You're not going to win because there's an old saying that says the only person that can defeat me is me. You can think that other people do, but you let other people defeat you. You can get, again, I'll go back to wrestling. There's an old wrestling school manager who literally had been fired from different wrestling companies 6 times in his life, and he's considered one of the greatest of all time now, Hall of Famer and all that stuff. Every time he got fired, he recreated himself and made himself better, and they couldn't refuse hiring him back because he was ingenious, So he would do or say something stupid, but then, he was like, so he did not let anybody defeat him. And that he was the one where I got that from is, the only person who can defeat you is you.
Yeah.
So that's what that basically means is try me.
Yeah.
Come get some. Basically, come get some, and I will come back at you, and you will not defeat me. I don't care if you're a judge. I don't care if you're a state municipality. I just have a recent success story where I got a guy after a year worth of fighting for him, about $30,000 back from the state of Illinois that they did not deserve, and if he wouldn't have hired me, it would have never happened.
Yeah.
Because he was ready to give up, and I said, no, if I believe somebody is owed something or I'm in the right, I will fight it to the ground. I feel like there's sometimes I've called the IRS like, look, if we just give you your way, will you just stop calling? Like, I mean, literally, I will beat them into submission. I tell my clients that. If, you have an IRS issue, I will beat them into submission until I get my way. Because if I'm passionate and I feel like I am right, they can't argue me. And when I say I feel like I'm right, I will shove tax law down their throat until they have no option but to give me what I want.
Yeah, what's fair is fair, and what's owed. It sounds like you know the laws.
Yeah.
Before I forget, I want to talk about the assistant real quick. So you hired an assistant,
Yes.
right?
I have 3 employees. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And do you think that's been a game changer for you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I can say it's been for myself too. And that, do you think people listening to this, they want to hire an assistant, that having a framework or a job description, how to hire an assistant would be helpful for them?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've learned through trial and error. I've had employees in the past who've embezzled from me. I've had people, and that's where I came up with the whole thing is like, you can't teach morality, but you can teach knowledge.
Right.
And that's where that came from, is like, I focus more on somebody who I thought would have had a background, but then they end up stealing from me. Again, so there is a right and a wrong way to go about properly hiring people, and it will save you tons, because turnover costs you more money than almost anything.
Oh, and
when it comes to employees.
Yeah, and the headache. So if you're watching this, if you go to my Instagram and follow me at Jake Paul Turner and DM me the word assistant and podcast, I will send you the framework, the job description, how to hire an assistant, and that can help you out. So,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. 100% stand by that.
You believe you can have results and excuses, but not both. How's it shown up for you in your career?
By making excuses and not getting results. Realistically, I mean, honestly, like, how many years did I make excuses and be like, why are these? And it's funny. Then you make excuses about not having results. It's like, why are all these things happening to me? Why can't I be more successful? You're making excuses about why you don't have results.
Yeah.
But you can't. It gives you a negative connotation to things too. Like, a negative attitude on it will stop you from being successful. You'll be your own roadblock. Just like nobody can stop you from being successful but yourself. That's another way that happens.
Yeah.
And like I kind of mentioned before, the day I stopped taking things personally and open-minded to it was the day I got more successful, because instead of making the excuses, like taking it personally is making excuses. Right. The day I stopped doing that and I started saying, okay, I don't care about what's happened. How do I fix it?
Right.
I focused more on the fixing than the fault.
Mm-hmm. You ever the story of the 2 bricklayers related to excuses?
No, I have not.
So, simple. Basically, one man says, I'm laying bricks. Mm-hmm. Another one says, I'm building a cathedral. Mm-hmm. You know what the difference is? Same task, but one sees excuses and the other one sees results. Mm-hmm. So, same bricklayers, just depending how you're looking at things, it's going to completely change the outcome. Mm-hmm. And I think some people have so many excuses, they could probably sell them wholesale, Open an excuse mart, 2-for-1 deal on excuses.
You can have a business for anything else, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, especially like going to the gym. You know what I mean? People always have an excuse for it. And my favorite is like what's your excuse for not going to the gym? It's like, well, I was too busy making excuses to not go to the gym.
Did you ever hear Arnold Schwarzenegger's way to solve that problem?
No.
He says people would say they don't have enough time to go to the gym. He says, sleep faster.
Sleep faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's changed his perspective on that, but I like it.
Well, but now he's what? How old is he? Is he 80?
Well, I think. I mean, I'm the biggest Arnold fan.
Yeah.
He would say certain things as like a marketing perspective. No, like obviously you can't sleep faster or something like that. To where it's like,
I think it's more of the principle.
It makes people be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people don't manage their time well. They waste a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. The ironic thing on that is, though, you can have better quality sleep if you have a better lifestyle than if you don't, and maybe the premise is there. Like, I know times where I've slept for 12 hours and been more tired than if I slept for 6. You can have better quality sleep where you're in more of a deep sleep in a quicker amount of time. So maybe that's part of the perception.
Yeah, I agree with that. Going to bed at the same time is a game changer for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, normally I go to bed at like 9:30 these days. Because I try and look at my schedule and see when I want to stay up and work on this stuff all the time. Though I don't want to sleep.
Yeah.
However, I'm more clear-minded. Actually, get more done once I get some sleep. To where even the next night, say I'm sleeping from 11 to 7 or 11 to 8, I still won't have as good a sleep, or sometimes even sleep less, because my body's not used to sleeping during that time period.
Right.
So consistently going to bed, it's hard. Like I want to do stuff, especially
I listen to my body a lot. I can't say that I have a consistent sleep schedule. It's like when my body's done working or when it's like, just time, then I go to sleep and then I wake up the next day. But I think I've, other than times if I'm ill or whatever, but most of the time I'll sleep for about the same amount of hours. So whether I'm working a long day before and I sleep the number of hours and see, my schedule's always so crazy too. It's like sometimes I have early morning stuff. Sometimes I have late afternoon stuff. Sometimes I have phone calls later in the evening. Oh, okay, then I got to sleep in a little bit more and budget my time and make sure that I'm available for things.
Well, someone works like that. My videographer's works like that. Sometimes it's part of certain jobs or being an artist, well, you gotta do the best you can. Not always use that as your excuse though. Like we could all be better about our health for certain things or whatever. What's the smartest way you've turned failure into a teacher?
The smartest way? Smartest way I've turned failure into a teacher. I would say by learning from my mistakes, making sure in life I never do make the same mistake twice. Have I always? No. But when I learned that, okay, this is the mistake that was made. How do I make sure that doesn't happen again? What process do I need to modify, or what line of thinking do I need to have to make sure that this never happens again? I think that's the smartest way to go about it, because everybody's going to make mistakes, but if you keep repeating the same mistake, then it's something within yourself that you need to correct.
Yeah. What mistake from your past gave you the most valuable lesson?
Most valuable lesson? Probably when I got my DUI, I would say. Okay. I would say probably more so than that.
What did it teach you?
The reality of life. The reality of life, like like it hit me in the face. It hit me in the face. I let a lot of people down with that and whatever. And honestly, I can say I've never gotten behind the wheel after drinking a single thing ever again after that. There's not probably what do they say? 50% of people get one, get two, and then 80% of the people that get two get three, something like that.
I'm not sure the percentage,
but that's what they told me when I took the classes or whatever. But not only the amount of money I had to spend to get it, let me rephrase that. The amount of money my mom had to spend for me because I was young at that time. I didn't have an extra 10 grand laying around in my 20s.
Yeah,
So and not just specifically to the DUI, but to decision making.
Yeah.
Thinking things through instead of just, again, it was a matter of arrogance. How many times I got behind the wheel and drove, or probably I was worse on it, but I was like, again, I'm like, I can drive straight down the road. I'm fine. How many people said that, right?
Yeah. Everyone.
And then the reality check is I wasn't even swerving or endangered anybody. I went straight through a right turn lane that had just developed on that area. A state cop pulled me over. And will never forget to this day the thing that you said to me, right? Because if you remember, I was in Michael Jackson Billie Jean sequence.
I was gonna bring it because it was Halloween time.
Yeah. So when I called you and told you about what had happened, you said the first thing you said is, "Did you ask the officer if she wanted to be starting something?" I don't know if you remember saying that to me.
I don't remember that.
That is the first thing you said to me.
That sounds like something I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when somebody came to pick me up for that, it was like the sun had come up or whatever, and I was it was like a disco ball in the car because the sun was shining off the sequence. It was like, today I laugh about it, but obviously it was like what the scariest thing about that was for me is like, how am I going to tell my mom? That was the thing that hurt me the most. I didn't care if I had to spend time in jail or any of that.
Yeah.
How am I going to break this to her?
Yeah.
Like that was like the one things at that time that I could say, at least I'm not getting in trouble with the law.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I was gonna bring that one. Like I said, only one of the funny things about it, because there's nothing funny about drinking and driving.
No.
It's Halloween time. Your mugshot is you dressed up as Michael Jackson.
Yeah. People don't believe it, but I pull up the picture like, oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah.
You definitely were.
Yeah.
I think you only had a couple drinks too. That's the thing.
No. That was the crazy thing is. That was the lightest I was. Like I got the lowest amount of the book thrown at me. Right. If it would have been one of those, and that's where I looked at the optimistic side. I'm like, at least it wasn't one of the times I was like twice that legal limit.
Right.
Like I was like at a 0.08, and I think the law was like I was a 0.10, and the legal limit was like 0.08.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. People, you can have 2 drinks and you probably felt fine.
Yeah. But it could still affect you.
But if you get, of course, you get pulled over and have to blow a breathalyzer. Mm-hmm. Well, like your case, you didn't pass it, and the full DUI can really affect your future. Yeah. One of those mistakes that if you can, really try and avoid it. And I'm glad that a lot of the new research is coming out, like actually how bad alcohol is for you and stuff. I wish we'd have known more of that information when we were younger. You say, be smart enough to know what you don't know. What is one story where that principle saved you?
I don't know if I'd have one that say where it literally saved me, but maybe made me more efficient.
Okay.
Even in the tax realm, like people respect more my value to them if I tell them that I have to research something versus making it up.
Okay.
There's a lot of people in the professional industry, no matter what they're in, that think that they're somebody will not respect them as a professional if they don't know the answer to every single question. But they respect you more if you will literally be honest with them and take the time to find out the right answer. Because if you don't find out the right answer, 9 times out of 10, it'll come back and bite you in the rear end.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, no matter what the scenario is.
Right. Sometimes it's worth slowing down a little bit.
So know what you don't know. Realize what you don't know. If it was a legal question, actually, it is against the law, at least in the state of Illinois, to give legal advice if you're not an attorney. You can actually get in trouble for that.
Gotcha, makes sense.
Yeah, I don't. Most states probably are the same way.
Probably.
But you have to. But let me call this person and find out. Sometimes it would be right when they were sitting there, but it's like they respect the fact that I will always make sure I give them the right answer, not the quick one.
Yeah. And that's a lot of value in that because you want to be quick and speedy and things like that. There are times, though, where if you're just going fast, you can cost yourself a lot of time that way, too. It's like driving on the highway really fast, you're not paying attention, and you miss an exit. And now you added 20 more minutes. Well, you just slow down just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
just what happened.
As I got on with my career and I got more firm with people, one of the things I'll tell people is because people will push me a lot, like, is it done yet? Is it done yet?
Sure.
I say, do you want it done right or do you want it done fast?
Yeah.
Because I will not put my name on something if I don't feel 100% confident it's accurate. Yeah. So you are going to wait. You're going to wait until it's done right. 99 times out of 100, I keep them as a client with that type of a response.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not a yes man.
Yeah.
I'm not a yes man.
Well, who wouldn't want an accountant like that? You know, they want it done right. You know what I mean? That's the end goal. Fun fact: accountants scare me. Do you know that? Like
you?
Yeah.
You specifically?
Yeah, like they look at your receipts like it's a crime scene. You know, like did you buy tacos? 19 tacos at 2 a.m.
No, they don't. I don't think I have ever looked at it that
Really?
way. No, I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah.
Let me tell you a proverb I made up.
Okay.
That I tell my clients, and they get it's a part humor, but it's a part reality.
I didn't know you were so
intelligent,
biblical, a biblical writer.
Well,
Shields 1:3.
Under not reporting all. Over-reporting your expenses will get you a fine. Under-reporting your income will get you jail time. What that simply means is there's nothing you can say to the IRS to say, oh, I didn't know I had to report all my income. But you can say to the IRS, I feel like this is a business expense, and here's why. I tell people, if I can argue it, then I will put it on there.
Interesting.
And I am a person who also literally, I don't judge people for the receipts, but if you gave me a receipt that I 100% think there's no way I can argue, I'm like, we're not deducting this. I don't give them a choice. I tell my client, we're not doing this.
Yeah, that's smart.
And if you have a problem with that, then you go to somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's smart, especially from like a morality standpoint. You know, you don't want to be, you want to help your clients, but being based in let's do this morally. Yeah. That's the best way to approach life, because then you're not living your life where you're always looking over your shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, that's just an awful way to live your life.
One of the most common things that people like about me being their accountant is that I don't talk like an accountant. I don't treat them like an accountant. I'm not black and white. I don't condescend. And I also, they're like, I feel comfortable with you because you just talk to me like a normal person, like normal. Like, a lot of people in the, whether it's an attorney or a business professional, kind of have that very monotone, dry personality. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
I am a person who will talk to my client on the phone and I'll say, this is a dumb idea.
Yeah.
This is a dumb idea.
Some people need that sometimes.
I kid you not, verbatim. I have said to clients before, if you do this, you're stupid.
Yeah.
They respect that. I mean, it may sound crazy, but they do. They respect that because I'm telling them that's what I'm paid for.
Yeah.
That's what I'm paid to do.
Yeah, I think we need more of that raw honesty these days. And it comes from a good spot. It's comes from your heart. It's not you just trying to be like, this is my way.
Yeah. What are you paying me for if you're not paying me to tell you what the truth is? You know what? Go ahead and do it. It's your tax return. But I will not agree with it if an audit comes up. I will not vouch for that.
Yeah.
I will be honest because my reputation is not worth any individual client.
No, not at all.
I'm not going to ruin my and I say that to clients too. I will not ruin my reputation for you or for anybody else.
Yeah. Speaking of big comebacks and that we had before, you want to tell the story how about your gambling event in Vegas?
Okay, so this wasn't a movie. This was real life.
Yeah.
So we go there for, I think it was your first time in Vegas, right? Your bachelor party was your first time in Vegas, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was there for my bachelor party.
Okay, so you had never played games before. You had never played any card games. And I think I was teaching you one of the card games that I play. It's called three-card poker.
I still don't know how to play.
Played a little bit. Now, here's what was funny. I just remember this. You may not remember. We were sitting there, and I'm teaching you how to play, right? And you play is like your second hand. You got three of a kind, and you won, like, it was one of the best hands to get.
Oh.
And you won a couple thousand.
Oh.
And I told you, I said, this is not how it works.
Oh.
Trust me, don't think this is how you win. This is not how it works. And then, like, after you left the table, I was pissed off because I'm like, how did he get three of a kind? And I'm still sitting here suffering. Anyway, so in Vegas and a lot of casinos, they'll give you free drinks if you're playing.
Yeah.
So you play, and I think at the time, I mean, I was like, okay, I have $5,000 or maybe it was $4,000 for this weekend for the bachelor party. That's it. That's what I'm bringing. That's what I'm spending.
Yeah.
And so I'm going up and down. I'm winning some. I'm losing some. I'm winning some. I'm losing some. I'm drinking. I'm winning some. Oh, I need a little bit more. Pull money out of my pocket. And then I reached in my pocket eventually, and there was nothing left. And right now we're at 9 or 10 in the next.
And how much money did you have to start?
If I had to guess, I'd say 4,000.
Oh my god.
So
4,000.
First thing that came through my mind, I didn't panic. First thing that came in my mind is like, okay, I'm going to have to call my mom at one point and tell her what happened. And she'll wire me some money or something. Okay. The second thing that happened is I'm like, well, $50 is getting me, it's not even getting me a meal in Vegas. So it's not going to do me anything. So I might as well take my last shot. Yeah, so I go on there, and 3-card poker, you get 3 cards, and there's one bet you can bet your 3 cards combined with the 3 cards of the dealer. I got a straight flush. The dealer got a straight flush, but not only did they get a straight flush, they got a straight flush that was directly connected to mine. So it was like I don't remember what numbers it was, but I'll use an example. 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen.
Okay.
So I won both of those, and I ended up winning like $3,500 on one hand. I said, I'm done, I'm out. Oh my gosh. And then you guys locked my money in the safe.
Yeah. Well, because that was the first night of the 3 days.
It was literally, we got off the plane, we went to the casino.
Yeah, I remember because we were up all night, and as we were I'd gone to bed, and my other friends came back to the room, and he was like, "Jason's still gambling." It was like 8 a.m. Like we were going to breakfast, and you were still gambling at the table.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was why I was not allowed unsupervised for the rest of the trip.
Or my other favorite story from The Bachelor, which I'm seeing I got divorced like 10 years ago, was
remember we went back to Vegas and we had a divorce party.
Did we?
Just me and you.
No, did we?
Yeah.
I remember really celebrating.
It wasn't like right after your divorce, but you and I both were celebrating our divorce together. I was like, let's just call it that. Okay. I think that's what we called it. Like, it was sometime after we both were divorced, and we're like, we're just going to call it a divorce party. That's what we're going to tell girls. We're here for a divorce party.
Jeez, I don't remember that, but when I excuse to go to Vegas. But but it was, the other story was how we went to the Hard Rock with my other friend. Remember?
Went to the pool.
The pool party.
No, not the restaurant. You're talking about the pool. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So basically, we had this VIP pool party, whatever, and
it was called the Rehab.
Yeah.
On Sundays, it was like you rented it out for like $3,000 or whatever. We all pitched in on it, and you got like you had your tab went towards that $3,000 or something. We had a cabana.
Yeah. It was something like that. Where everyone pretty much. We all worked at the bar at the time. The majority of the people there were all in the bar business. I remember having a come to Jesus meeting the first night. Like, look, we need to put the money in the safe because it's a lot of money to reserve the pool party. I think it was like $3,000 or $4,000.
$3,000 or $4,000. Yeah, we each pitched in like however much. It was 5 or 6. Now, if you're each pitching in $500 or $600, that's not a bad deal.
I think it was like $4,000.
Yeah, and it went towards your food and what you drank.
Yeah, and so the most mild-mannered person at the time, we won't say his name. Who
was also a CPA, ironically.
He was also an accountant. Yeah. And we gave him the money, like, okay, we're going to trust him with the money. And I remember we get in the limo, we're going in, and it's like
Yeah.
Even with like VIP, what?
Very soft-spoken kid.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
quiet, which when he drank was the most wild,
Yeah, that's what it got out of.
We got like it took a long time, even like, oh, VIP, move along, to get to the front of the line. And then we get up, we're in our swim trunks, ready to party, like, all right, man, we need the deposit, the girl's there with bottle service, and he's feeling in his pockets, and he's feeling, and he's got a hole in his pocket, and all the money's gone. And we're just like, bro, what? Like, what do we do? I remember there was like an hour. We're just like,
yeah. And I'm like, what firm does this guy work for? I gotta give them a call.
Yeah. I remember like an hour. We're like, well, let's go to the business room. Let's try to figure it out. I remember me and one of the bar manager like, you know what? Move some money around. We got it. Walk back up. And I'm just being awesome.
Yeah,
but
I think he made a bunch of phone calls and moved some money around and all that. He felt so guilty. The poor kid.
God.
Like, it could have happened to anybody. But I'm sure that limo driver really was happy.
Oh yeah. Someone got in that limo.
That had to have been where it dropped out.
Oh yeah.
Had to have been.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, that was. Gosh, that was a wild time. Even just working in the bar.
And then the other problem was we had to drink twice as fast because we had less time. So you have until I think it's till 6 p.m. and we got there at 11, and this took about a couple hours, so we didn't start till 1 or 2.
Oh yeah.
And so we're like eating and drinking faster, and then I turn around and I remember seeing you with a Ciroc bottle in each hand, and I'm like, can I have some? And you're like, here we go. Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast. It was a fun time. It's still served for a good time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just good to get friends together. You don't even need to drink. It was just fun being in warm weather and by the pool. It was really nice.
What's funny about that is every one of us that were there at your bachelor party had our own individual story still to this day that we could tell.
Yeah.
Like we had our own like little storyline movie. Each one of us had our own event.
Yeah, it was like pre-hangover movie basically.
It really was.
And it's like a good weekend when there's like multiple stories from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're telling stories 20 years later on a podcast about it.
My best is still one of our friends who forgot his license at home and he had to go to Walmart and get a fishing ID to get into the bar.
Oh my god,
that was awesome.
Yes, thank you, Walmart. We appreciate that.
They literally told us that's what we could do.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
and I want your insight too. Like we used to work at a bar together. What was it like to? So initially, way back in the day, you were my boss when we worked at the Party Superstore, and then for a while, you needed a job in between. You were bar backing.
Goes back to the DUI.
I got you hired, and then I was your boss at the bar we were working at.
I'll always be indebted to you and to the owner or the manager there. You know who he was. That gave me that chance because he didn't know me very well. He didn't know anything about me other than you, and so that saved my rear end for a while.
Yeah, and it worked out. You know what I mean? So, but what was it like to see me like give some insight to people? What was like working with me behind the bar? Because that was something I
remember that you were very assertive and you weren't going to take people's. You have to keep control. And obviously, I wasn't a business owner at that time, but it was a lesson that I kind of retained with me. Is like never let anybody dictate to you how you're going to do things. You're the bartender. You will do things my way. Yeah, obviously, we're talking bartending versus other things, but that's a principle you can take with no matter what your job is. Waiting table, same thing. Don't let the customers are always right. That is a load of crap, and that is something that a customer came up with. Yeah. But that's not how it works.
Yeah, not in the bar business. It's usually the opposite.
I don't think in any business. I truly like if people come to me and will say the customer's always right. I want you to charge me less money. No, I want a refund. Customer's always right. No. If I feel it's truly the right thing to do, I'll do it. But it's not because you told me to do it. It's because of what I feel.
Right.
I have to look in the mirror the next day and feel like I did the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you remember one of the bar tricks I used to do when we were at the bar?
Yeah. You used to blow fire all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things. And you toss bottles around. But that was the main one that people loved. People would beg you to do it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think they allowed you to do it in one of the bars. But like a few of the others, they would. They didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah. I should do it on a podcast sometime. You think?
That would be fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if I were to blow fire on the podcast, it would be wild, irresponsible,
smoking,
and probably dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm now going to.
Well, knowing our relationship, I mean, I think we have all the elements of the right decision.
Yeah. My point being is, I'm now going to blow fire. So I have everything.
Fantastic.
I have everything here with me. We have a torch.
Shields Accounting Services brings the heat.
If you can, the Playboy, I'm lighting a torch here Francis, you mind shutting one of those lights off? Maybe we can get some better view of this. Hopefully, I don't burn this place down. And then do a little Everclear here.
That was fantastic, and nothing's flammable. Okay, nothing's on fire.
Oh Lord, we gotta stop the podcast. We'll be right back.
A few moments later.
What advice once felt personal or even harsh, but later you realize that's exactly what you needed?
I would say, and I won't say who said it, but I would say a person who came up to me and so-called tried to predict my future. And what I mean by that is that if you don't change who you are and what you do, you're going to be at home with your mother, and I'm going to be buying your prescription medication.
What the heck?
Meaning, this is your future when you're in your 50s if you don't change your lifestyle. And this was after a crazy drinking party, irresponsibility, doing dumb things. And it was like, if you don't change it, this is your future. Baptism by fire, a person that I know that would always threaten, like, prodding the stick to get you to change by, the people who will say things to you to piss you off, but they're pissing you off, trying to piss you off to get you to react differently and flip things around.
Yeah. Like I did basically.
Yeah.
When first community college.
Yeah, but this was a lot more abrasive, I think.
Yeah. I think my place came from, anytime I want to motivate someone, it comes from a place of love.
Yeah.
Now sometimes it's hard to.
Yeah. And that's where this for sure came from too.
Sure.
But you know where I'm coming from. It's like at the time I didn't really make a drastic change at that point in time, but I look back on it, and that's what makes me think of that question.
Gotcha. That makes sense. If you could send one message back to your younger self, what would it be?
Okay, I'll do the edited version. No,
why do the edited version?
Okay, don't sleep with. No, just kidding. If I could, truthfully, if I could, I would say,
like picture your 9-year-old self, 9-year-old Jason, and you actually have the opportunity to just come up and like say, "Hey, what are you gonna say to that person?"
Stand up for yourself. I was a very nerdy, picked on, insecure, not only child, but even in high school, was kind of like nerdy and didn't stand up for myself or stick up for myself. I don't think that came until I started waiting tables and started having more social interaction with people, where I think I had more control there, and I felt more of an assertiveness there. Obviously, when you and I became friends, a lot of that came more because you were a very assertive person. You didn't let anybody bull you at all, and so that came off on me. I picked up that, but I think that would have changed the game for me a lot.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting you have that perspective on me, because I wasn't always like that. I think I learned a lot of that from bartending. Because when I first worked at a small town bar, it was just you. And so if there were fights or people getting too drunk, you had to kick people out, things like that. Like, you had to run the bar.
Yeah.
There was a certain presence to that. You're like, hey, like you're not gonna mess with me,
Right?
And I know what's going on. Like I know what's happening. You're an entertainer as well.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It helps teach you a lot, and I think you build that confidence, and then you can teach someone else that confidence. Probably like just being around me. That's why I think it's important to be around people that you want to be like, or you can grow around. Like you want to gain some confidence, hang around people who are confident. Because they're gonna show you little tips and tricks. Because there are little things you can learn in mindset shifts. To where you're like, oh, maybe I didn't think of things that way. And it's those reframes that you have with life lessons too. That once you just think about something just a little bit differently, it completely changes the conversation, just even in your own head. And then can get you a lot of progress. Before we close, too, I want to make sure you got time to. Is there anyone you want to say hi to? Your
Yeah,
family?
there's a few things I wanted to say. The first thing I wanted to say is I just wanted to mention that the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, the show that we do is on the Roku channel app.
Oh.
It's on Tuesdays, so you can go watch every episode. It's on the free TV app. I made my TV debut a week ago last Tuesday. So it's
cool.
pretty cool seeing yourself while you're running your own business and you see yourself on TV and making that. But we run a really cool, we have built it so great over the last 6 years. I haven't been there the whole time, of course. But I mean,
Sure.
I wanted to mention that so that people knew where to find that great promotion.
Yeah.
And then I did want to just make a slight shout out to all my nieces and nephews, Sophia, Noelle, Lincoln, Alexandria is the newest one of the family. My brother's, third child, and Mackenzie, my goddaughter.
Yeah. That's awesome. Right?
Know that I'm not always there to see you as much as I'd like to be or as much as I used to be, but I just want you to be proud of everything I do. So I work very hard, and that is always on my mind.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's awesome, man. Sounds like you care about them a lot. So
Yeah.
that's great.
It's hard with the family that's in Illinois to go back as much as I'd like to.
Yeah, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
All right. Here we come to a segment of the episode which I like to call Rapid Fire Random Questions.
Okay.
Florida beaches or Florida food?
Food.
Which first job you ever had?
Technically, newspaper delivery route for the Peoria Journal-Star. You remember that?
Oh, okay, yeah.
If you say the first job when I was legally able to work, technically, Kroger.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one too. Calculator or gut instinct?
Always a calculator.
Coffee, energy drink, or zero sugar soda to power you through a long day?
Energy drink, it's the Flair Woo Energy all day long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love some Ric Flair. Woo!
Yep.
What's your go-to hype song before a big meeting?
Obviously, you know it's going to be a wrestling theme song. Triple H's old wrestling music by Motorhead, it was called The Game. It would say it's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about control and how you take it. After that gets going, I'm like, let's go. Let's do this.
What's harder to face, a client audit or a tough gym workout?
I don't do a lot of audits, but I would always say that's harder because even like the one I told you about where I won, like I got that guy about 30 grand back. That was technically an audit, and audits and auditors for the state and stuff is just a giant pain in the rear end.
What's your favorite memory with the NWA so far?
I just started like being on TV, but I would say my favorite memory is the fact that my company sponsors their main events at every TV taping. The fact that my name is mentioned on social media in conjunction with them for my business, and the fact that I'm integrated into that. Like, again, I look back and I'm like, this is so surreal.
Yeah.
I'm sponsoring and promoting a wrestling promotion that's been around for 77 years that I grew up on.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Especially you've always been a big fan.
Yeah.
What's your favorite snack?
Just favorite snack overall?
Mm-hmm.
Still going to be kitchen cooked potato chips, which I can't get in Florida. But, yeah.
Book that changed how you see success.
How I see success? The Psychology of Money.
What's the best part about moving to Florida?
The best part about moving to Florida? No taxes.
What's the worst part?
Driving.
What habit keeps you the most consistent?
What habit keeps me the most consistent? What habit? What habit I'm the most consistent with, or it keeps me consistent?
Keeps you consistent.
Keeps me consistent. I would say the way that I eat now, smaller portions, keeping on the same routine with that, like the same types of foods and things like that.
If you had a full day off with no responsibilities, what are you going to do?
Go to the casino.
Last question. What is the one decision that has made the biggest difference in your life?
Without a doubt, moving to Florida.
Moving to Florida. Awesome. Jason, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Can't believe the carpet caught on fire. Yeah. Bro. Thank you for watching the Jake Turner podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and to follow me on all my other social media platforms. The links are in the description below.